Hi, my name is Danny Panzella, and you're watching TruthSquad.tv. Today our guest is Kurt Haskell, a passenger from Flight 253 from Amsterdam to Detroit, the flight which the infamous underwear bombing took place. Kurt, thanks for coming on the show. We appreciate it.
No problem. Glad to be here.
So why don't you tell us a little bit about what happened today at was this a hearing?
Yeah, status conference for the underwear bomber. It's pretty interesting. This was the first hearing that I've been to, and it's actually the first time that I've ever heard Umar speak at all. And most of the hearing today was the judge trying to convince Umar to not represent himself.
So Umar is representing himself pro se. What is your role in this pretrial conference? Are you there as an observer, or are you somehow involved?
So far, yes, just an observer.
And so where is this taking place? Which court is this?
It's in the Eastern District, Federal Eastern District Court of Michigan, which is where I practice several days a week, every week in the bankruptcy court there. It's in downtown Detroit.
So the proceedings are being held in Detroit because that's where the flight was coming into in the United States. What type of hearing is this exactly?
Before you have a trial, you'll have several status conferences before they actually have the trial to see if any kind of settlement can be worked out to avoid the trial, and that's kind of where we're at. The judge did set the trial date today, which is October 4th, and she was pretty adamant that the date would not be changed. So I think we'll actually see the trial start then, assuming no plea deal.
October 4th. Interesting. We look forward to that. And so what else happened interesting at the conference?
Well, they had a discussion whether all the evidence that Umar's initial attorneys had, remember he fired his initial attorneys indicating he wanted to represent himself, should be turned over to a standby attorney. He now has a standby attorney, Attorney Chambers, whose job it is to answer questions and consult him, but not represent him. So there was quite a lengthy discussion whether that evidence should be turned over to Mr. Chambers, because Mr. Chambers is not actually Umar's attorney, and therefore Umar does not have the attorney-client privilege with him, meaning that anything Umar would tell Mr. Chambers could be found out by third parties like myself, and I could then use that in a civil case to sue Umar or the federal government, for instance. So there was quite a lengthy discussion about that too. What should be done about the situation where the documents would be viewed and by who, discussions whether Mr. Chambers would be able to see them or not. And what was ultimately decided was that only Umar could see the evidence and the documents, unless he wanted Mr. Chambers to see them, and then he could turn them over to Mr. Chambers if Umar decided to. To me, this was a very bad move by Umar. He should have, in my opinion, taken Judge Edmond's advice and let Mr. Chambers be his attorney, but now he has no idea if he's getting all the documents from the prosecution, how relevant they are, which ones he should show to Mr. Chambers, and Mr. Chambers is at Umar's whim in seeing what he needs to see for this case. And when this discussion was going on, it was interesting too, because Mr. Chambers indicated that funny things were going on at the Milan prison. He's having difficulty scheduling appointments with Umar at the prison, and different things like this, which seemed to be an indication that the Milan prison was obstructing his case in some way. As a matter of fact, he stated on the record that he believed Milan prison had gotten a call from someone higher up, in fact, to obstruct the case.
So now these were Umar's words or Chambers?
These were Chambers' words, who is the current standby attorney.
So Chambers thought that he was being stymied from above from having proper contact with Umar?
Yes, or at least adequately doing so. The impression I got was that the Milan prison, he thought the Milan prison was or is continuing to play games in this matter with his contact with Umar, which led Judge Edmonds to make a statement that she would be contacting the Milan prison herself to discuss these matters with the prison.
So it was reported that while he was on the plane, Umar seemed drugged or out of it. How is his demeanor today in court?
He didn't seem drugged or out of it. He had to speak for himself quite a bit because Chambers is only his standby attorney, so he did a lot of the speaking today. To me, he didn't seem very bright at all. I've never heard him speak before, which is kind of weird, but he speaks with a pretty thick accent. But he seems to have a good grasp on English, although he didn't fully seem to grasp the legal concepts of the case, in my opinion. So, not saying anyone that doesn't grasp the legal concepts is not very smart, but he didn't appear to be very smart to me. Definitely not capable of representing himself in a trial like this. No way, no how. And very, very adamant about representing himself. I'm not sure why, but he just does not want an attorney at all. I can't get a grasp on why. It seemed like everyone in the courtroom wanted him to just say that he would have Chambers as his attorney and he wouldn't do it.
Did he seem at all under duress, or did he seem confident in his ability to be able to represent himself?
I didn't detect any duress. He seemed really adamant that he was going to represent himself, and as a matter of fact, he stated when they set the October 4th trial date that maybe that wouldn't be enough time for him to learn all the legal concepts to adequately put on his own trial. And he asked Judge Edmonds for more time, which she denied.
Did he give any indication as to what his defense was going to be?
He didn't give any indication, but there's only one possible defense that I've seen, that's entrapment.
And you base that on your own legal expertise or something that you know about this case?
Both.
Can you comment any further?
I've had discussions with Attorney Chambers also.
And are you able to discuss those discussions?
Some parts of them. I would say that the defense is going to be entrapment, so which kind of goes along with what my theory has been in the case all along. I can't, certain things I can't say what I've discussed with Attorney Chambers.
Okay.
That's going to be the defense that I see it. But again, Umar's representing himself and clearly has his own mind. So who knows? He's a loose cannon, appears to me.
So if you get the impression that he's going to be pleading entrapment, is there something that's indicated to you that he was given the explosives?
The only thing I have on that is what I've seen and read about, which is, we have a number of instances recently where the government has admitted to handing out intentionally defective bombs, including the Portland Christmas tree bomber, the Wrigley Field bomber, and actually I think a couple other plots. If you look at that and take that into consideration with everything else, including my eyewitness testimony that Umar was escorted through security by what I believe to be part of the U.S. a man working for the U.S. government. You take that into consideration, the fact that someone filmed the entire incident from before it started until after it started, the other man being taken into custody in Detroit airport after we landed, the testimony in Congress that the U.S. government frequently lets terrorists in the United States to serve purposes of the U.S. government, the comments by Janet Napolitano that the system worked, which, if you take all these pieces, they all fit into the puzzle that Umar was given an intentionally defective bomb. I think it's entirely plausible. Now, do we have a smoking gun on that? No, but I could see expert testimony in the trial indicating that the bomb could not have detonated And there's actually, I believe it was a Free Press article from either late December or early January where Attorney Chambers makes that statement that the bomb could not have exploded. It was impossible that it had exploded. So I think you can see where this case is going.
Let's go back to the plane for a minute. Did you actually witness the fire or the passengers restraining Umar?
Yeah, I missed the start of it because I was looking at the seatback monitor on the seat in front of me when all the commotion started. I didn't look up till a flight attendant said something smells like smoke, and that got me to look up. And by that point, the incident had already started. Umar was being hauled off into the first class area, so I didn't see the initial part of him being subdued. He was already being taken away, but I clearly saw the fire, and I saw it spreading, and as well as the flight attendant putting it out with a fire extinguisher.
So the fire actually spread to the seats or other?
Yeah, it was two seats. The two seats to the left of the left aisle, as well as the floor, and up the wall to the ceiling. It was spreading really quick, very fast. Just the flight attendant was even faster, grabbing the fire extinguisher, putting out really fast.
Now, the second man that was arrested in the airport, was that the man with the video camera?
Actually, I can't say that for sure because I never saw the man with the video camera. So let me clarify that. But people that saw the man arrested after we landed and the man with the video camera have never indicated that it was the same man. So I think they're three different men. And the man I saw escorting him through security never boarded our plane. The cameraman has been described as a Dutch man, and I actually have his name and number. He just refuses to talk to me for whatever reason. So I actually know who he is. I've sent him a couple of emails, and all I get back is an email from his attorney, and no indication that he wants to talk to me in any way. The other man that was arrested after we landed was another Indian man, a younger one, and he was arrested after a dog sniffed something in his carry-on bag, a bomb-sniffing dog, and then he was taken into custody. So my theory on him, and again, notice there are no pictures or videos of any of these people anywhere, and if they're real accomplices here and not members of the government, wouldn't their pictures be blasted everywhere? But anyway, my theory on this man is that he's the one that actually provided Umar with the bomb. I believe he did it at Schiphol Airport. I don't believe any of this nonsense that Umar was given a bomb in Yemen or wherever, and he rode planes, all around the world with this bomb in his underwear. Mm-hmm. I just don't believe it. And I think that's what the dog found in his carry-on bag was some sort of bomb residue. And I think that's actually who this man was.
Yeah, well, it makes sense that he might be some sort of intelligence operative, being that there was never an official admission, as far as I know, and there's no press coverage. As far as you know, are they still denying that he was arrested?
They had 6 different versions on this man, from he doesn't exist, to he's from another flight, to he was arrested on an immigration charge, to an agricultural charge, and the story changed 6 times. But I think the story now is he was just some guy from Georgia and it was all a big mistake, and he was let go within a couple hours of being taken into custody. I don't believe any of it, but I think that's the current official story on it, and they don't talk about it anymore. They don't talk about this man at all. So